Have you ever felt like you're running on a treadmill? You're putting in the work, you're trying so hard to change things, to get ahead, to finally feel that sense of peace or success. But your scenery never really changes. The same problems, the same frustrations, the same financial ceiling, just in a different package. It's exhausting, isn't it? It feels like you're fighting against the world. But what if I told you that the entire battle, the entire struggle, is based on a fundamental misunderstanding of how the world actually works? What if you're not fighting the world at all? What if you're only fighting a shadow, a reflection of something happening inside of you? Stick with me here, because this idea, once you truly grasp it, is the key that unlocks every door. We've been taught our entire lives to operate in reverse. We wake up, we look at our bank account, we see the number and we feel a certain way. We look at our relationships, we see the circumstances and we react. We believe the external world is the cause, and our feelings are the effect. But the great mystics, the most successful people in history, and even quantum physics itself, all point to a staggering truth. The sequence is the exact opposite. The world you see is not the cause, it's the receipt. It's the physical printout of a transaction that already happened, inside your own consciousness. A man named Neville Goddard, one of the most profound spiritual teachers of the 20th century, put it this way: the subconscious does not distinguish between lived reality and assumed reality. Let that sink in for a moment. To the deepest part of your mind, the part that runs the show 95% of the time, there is no difference between something you vividly imagine with genuine feeling and something you physically experience. Both are treated as memories. Both are treated as facts. And your subconscious, which is the loyal builder of your life, will work tirelessly day and night to organize your physical world to match those internal facts. This is why so many people feel trapped. They spend their lives trying to scrub the mirror, hoping to change the reflection. They work harder, they hustle more, they try to manipulate people and circumstances, wondering why nothing fundamentally changes. It's because the mirror can only do one thing: reflect the face you're making at it. Your material reality is nothing more than a perfect, faithful reflection of your most dominant, sustained subconscious states. The job isn't to change the world. The job is to change the state of consciousness you occupy, and the world has no choice but to change with it. Think about the universal law of reversibility. It's all around us. For centuries, we knew that friction could produce electricity. It took a long time to realize the reverse was true. Electricity could produce friction or motion. We knew heat could cause movement, but we later learned that movement could also cause heat. Cause and effect are not a one-way street. They are interchangeable. Now, apply this universal law to yourself. We all know that a physical event can cause a psychological feeling. Getting good news makes you feel happy. An unexpected bill makes you feel anxious. But if the law of reversibility holds true, then the inverse must also be a law. A psychological feeling must produce a corresponding physical state. This isn't just philosophy. It's physics. The observer effect in quantum mechanics shows that at the subatomic level, particles exist in a state of pure potential, a wave of possibilities, until a conscious observer looks at them. The act of observation is what collapses the wave into a specific, tangible particle. You, as a conscious observer, are doing this every single moment of your life. Your sustained feeling, your dominant assumption about yourself and the world, is the act of observation that is collapsing the infinite potential of reality into the specific experiences, people, and circumstances that populate your life. You aren't just in your reality. You are the one selecting it from an infinite menu of possibilities. So the big question is, are you doing it consciously, or are you doing it by default? Most of us are creating by default. We are unconsciously replaying the programming we received before the age of 7. During those first few years, our critical, analytical mind wasn't fully formed. We were basically in a state of hypnosis, a little sponge absorbing every belief, every limitation, every fear from the world around us. If our parents worried about money, we absorbed the feeling that money is scarce and hard to come by. If we were told that we were shy or not good at math, that became a fact imprinted in our subconscious. That programming becomes what the plastic surgeon Dr. Maxwell Maltz called our self-image thermostat. A thermostat's job is to maintain a constant temperature. If the room gets too hot, it turns on the air conditioning. If it gets too cold, it turns on the heat. Your subconscious self-image works the exact same way. It rigidly maintains what you are allowed to have and experience. This is why lottery winners so often end up broke and miserable within a few years. Their external wealth so drastically exceeded their internal thermostat setting for what I'm worthy of, that it created immense psychological pressure. Their subconscious then orchestrated a series of bad decisions, poor investments, and self-sabotage, until their external reality was once again in equilibrium with their internal setting. They returned to their familiar temperature. You can try to override this thermostat with willpower and hard work, and you might for a little while, but you will always, eventually, be pulled back to your subconscious set point. The only way to permanently raise the temperature is to change the setting on the thermostat itself. And it gets even deeper. Not only are we dealing with our own programming, but we live in a constant environment of what Earl Nightingale called telepathic suggestion. We are all broadcasting our dominant beliefs and feelings like psychic radio waves. When 95% of the people around you are broadcasting frequencies of limitation, worry, and fear, it takes conscious effort not to tune your own receiver to that station. This is especially true in moments when your guard is down, casual conversations at work, scrolling mindlessly on your phone, watching the news. In these semi-hypnotic states, suggestions slip right past your conscious mind and are accepted by your subconscious as orders. The only real protection, the only way to become a conscious creator, is to take deliberate control of the two most powerful tools you have, your imagination and your feeling. Imagination is not childish fantasy. It is the beginning of all creation. It's the design studio. Thomas Edison didn't invent the light bulb in his lab. He first perfected it in his imagination. He held a clear, detailed image of a world illuminated by electricity. He entered that state of controlled reverie, that magical space between waking and sleeping, and allowed that image to fully imprint on his subconscious mind. His subconscious then gave him the insights, the hunches, and guided him through the 1,000 failed attempts to the one that worked. He accepted the end in his imagination, and his subconscious took care of the means. This is the secret that most positive thinking and affirmation techniques miss. You cannot fool the subconscious. It doesn't respond to empty words. It responds to sensory, vivid experience. It responds to feeling. Feeling is the modulation. It's the language. You can repeat, "I am wealthy," 1,000 times, but if you feel the gut-wrenching anxiety of lack while you're saying it, the only message your subconscious receives is lack. It's the feeling that is the prayer. The feeling is the command. This is why fear is such a powerful creative force. People who constantly worry about getting sick are marinating their minds in the feeling of sickness. Fear is a stronger emotion than a half-hearted, empty affirmation. So, how do we do this? How do we consciously use this power to create the life we truly desire? Neville Goddard gave us a few beautifully simple and profoundly effective techniques. One of the most powerful is what he called revising the day. Every night, just before you fall asleep, your mind enters a drowsy, receptive state. This is the gateway to the subconscious. In this state, don't just replay the events of your day. Rewrite them. Relive them as you wished they had happened. Did you have a difficult conversation with someone? Reimagine it ending in harmony and understanding. Did you miss out on an opportunity? Revise the scene so that you seized it successfully. Don't do this as a passive daydream. Do it with full sensory richness. Hear the exact words of congratulations. Feel the warmth of the handshake. See the smile on the other person's face. Feel the genuine emotion of relief, joy, and gratitude that would have been yours. What you are doing is replacing the memory of failure or frustration with a memory of success. And remember, your subconscious doesn't know the difference. By doing this consistently, you are cleaning the slate of the day's negative impressions and feeding your subconscious a diet of fulfilled desires. The results can be startling. You'll find that the very people and situations you revised begin to change in your physical world, sometimes overnight, without you taking any external action. The past quite literally reorganizes itself to align with your new version of it. Another powerful technique is the nightly mental conversation. Instead of revising a past event, you create a future one. But here's the key. You don't visualize the goal itself. You visualize a short, simple scene that implies the goal is already an accomplished fact. If you want a promotion, don't imagine doing the work. Imagine a friend you trust coming up to you, shaking your hand and saying, "Wow, I can't believe it, congratulations on the new position." And you must hear their voice in your mind. You know what your friend sounds like. Hear their specific tone, their cadence. Feel the texture of their hand in yours. Make it so real, so vivid, that you drift off to sleep in the feeling of that reality. You are planting a seed in the fertile soil of the subconscious, and if you leave it alone and trust the process, it must grow. Your only job is to select the what. Your job is to define the destination. The how, the when, the where, that is not your concern. Any attempt to figure out the how with your conscious mind is an admission of doubt, and it cancels the order. Your conscious mind is the captain on the bridge of a ship. It chooses the destination and gives the command, but it doesn't go down into the engine room to figure out the mechanics. The engine room is your subconscious. It has access to wisdom, resources, and a network of connections that your conscious mind can't even comprehend. It will orchestrate the chance encounters, the lucky breaks, the flashes of inspiration, and the synchronicities needed to bring you to your destination. You just have to trust the crew in the engine room. This also means you have a profound responsibility for how you see others. Your unexpressed assumptions about the people in your life are a form of telepathic command. There was a famous experiment where teachers were told that certain randomly selected students were gifted. By the end of the year, those students showed significant IQ gains. The teachers swore they treated everyone the same, but recordings showed they gave those gifted students more eye contact, more encouragement, and a more positive tone of voice. The teacher's subconscious assumption of brilliance was transmitted to the students, who subconsciously accepted it and rose to meet the expectation. Think about what this means. If you hold an assumption that your partner is thoughtless, you are programming them to act that way in your presence. If you see your children as struggling, you are reinforcing that reality. But the reverse is also gloriously true. You have the power to elevate everyone around you simply by changing your assumption of them. See the best in them. In your mind's eye, see them as successful, happy, and capable. Do this genuinely, without telling them, and watch as they begin to blossom in your presence. They won't know why they suddenly feel more confident and capable around you, but you will. You have been operating the most powerful creative mechanism in the universe your entire life, but you were never given the instruction manual. Now you have it. You now know that the world is just a mirror, reflecting the consciousness you hold within. The kingdom of heaven really is within you. It's not a poetic phrase, it's a technical statement about the location of the creative power. So the question is no longer whether you are creating your reality. You are, and you always have been. The only question is whether you will continue to be an unconscious creator, manifesting the same inherited limitations day after day, or if you will finally decide to pick up the artist's brush, turn away from the canvas for a moment, and consciously choose the image you wish to paint in the studio of your imagination. The cell door was never locked. The key is in your pocket. The power is and always has been right where you are. You can start tonight. What reality will you choose to assume?